Okay, so now that we have kind of like a solid foundation about how to get the mean, median, and mode, let's just talk about the normal distribution. If I were going to plot, and let's say this on this axis is the frequency, kind of stepping from our histogram into the normal distribution looks like this. I hope that by now we have a project where you'll all be making one of these. In the middle here, this is considered unimodal, and remember, mode is like the peak, right? So this would be considered unimodal just because there's one peak, unlike something that were bimodal. If I were to draw it out, I'm going to do a little one out here. But if I were to draw the data like this, and then like this happened to be scores on an exam. I had a whole bunch of, let's say, 90s and a whole bunch of 70s, all right? That would be bimodal. This, in this example, this is the mode, which is the peak. It's also the median because it happens to fall where 50% of the scores are above it and 50 are below it. This would be considered the median, as well as the mean, which we've been denoting as X bar. Right, we should all by now, have an idea of how to get that. However, what you will find out in some data when it's skewed and it's not necessarily normal distribution, you can also, because of outliers, you can sometimes have data be skewed. For example, you can have something that's positively skewed and negatively skewed. An example of something that's positively skewed, same graph, if this is frequency, I'm just going to put an F here for frequency. In this example here, this point still is going to be my mode because that's the actual peak, meaning that there were more at this score. Then you would have your median. And remember, the median is not affected by the actual numbers. It literally just wants to know what is n equal, right? And you just take n plus 1 divided by 2. So if the number on the number line, if there happens to be 1, 6, 7, 4, and 10, the median here is obviously going to be what's in the middle, which is the 7. Or the numbers could be 1, 6, 7, 4, and 100, and the median stays the same. The median is just position or place. So we would have 5 plus 1 is 6 divided by 2, which is 3, so you'd find the third position, right? So here your median is going to stay the same because it's right in the middle. And if this is positively skewed, just means simply that your X bar is going to be over here to the right. This is an example of positively skewed distribution. Example of a negative where you'll find the mean greater than the mode and the median simply because there's a number that's being calculated in here way out this way that is skewing the median, causing the, skewing the mean, pulling the mean up. An example, or what a distribution would look like if it were negatively distributed, would just simply be this. In this scenario here, you're going to have your mode, because that's your highest peak, your median, but here, the average would be being pulled way down, and that's simply because there's a number way out here on the number line that's sort of bringing down the average. Like, for example, when you hear the term bringing down the average, if I had an exam and a lot of people made zeros on it, does it make a difference if there are a lot of scores near the mode, simply because they'd be being drugged down by the number of people who had zeros? Which is what sometimes when you'll see when I throw up the averages, I'll often tell you I've done it by throwing out the outliers, getting rid of the zeros. That we can kind of understand a better understanding of what the exam was. So on number 3, moving on to handout 3, I just kind of want you to get a general idea from chapter 3. The types of measurement, you've got those by now, your nominal measures, ordinal and interval measures. And then handout 3 is a little confusing, but what it is it just gives you this great graph, and once you give the level of measurement, the definition, measure, central tendency, and exceptions. From that, I want you to know that with the nominal data and the ordinal and the interval, generally, whenever you have outliers or numbers that are kind of on the number line, way, way out here, or way, way out there, the mean is going to be impacted by this, all right? The mean is affected. The median is unaffected by the outliers. So just remember that. All right, and that was homework 3.